Hello, I'd like to welcome everybody to the TheSanCap Guide Podcast. This is the second one. I think we got myself, Nick, Laurie, and Max is running the controls back there. Couple of things we wanted to talk about. We never have really discussed how the TheSanCap Guide started. So we wanted to just reflect back on that. Back when basically COVID started about just over a year ago, we were at home and quite bored. Not much was going on. We'd gone from being very, very busy in our photography business, and then
we're always super busy around spring break. So that's obviously when everything died.
Then the Sanibel got closed down for about 55 days. We come to find out, but initially it was just closed for a week or two, as many parts of the country were. And as things progressed, we got more and more bored at home and not doing anything. So we decided to break the drone out and do some filming and just fill our days with filming and then posting it for the people that couldn't get down. We had a lot of customers that weren't able to get down during COVID, obviously. So we thought if we filmed some of the beaches and just put a timestamp on them, we'd post them, and then just for a bit of fun and something to do.
And what was that first video you posted? It was just flying over the beach, correct?
Yeah, it was just literally a minute or two just flying down the beach. I think it was on West Gulf Drive, was it? Or was it Bowman's Beach?
That's the one you did. You flew past Sanibel down to Point Santo, and then you turned around.
Oh, yeah. So, and you could just see how many people, and you can check that back on the YouTube channel.
That was actually March 23rd of 2020.
Was it March 23rd? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and we posted that. We posted on a couple of Facebook groups, and it.
But the crazy thing is, you'd never narrated a video. I was literally sitting at the desk and you came in and just started narrating a video, and I looked at you like, what in the world are you doing? You've never done anything like that before.
Yeah, I don't know what
I don't know what made you do that. Do you know?
No, I have no idea. No, so we narrated the video, posted it, and it got an amazing feedback. It was for, we put it on a couple of Facebook groups, we shared it with some customers, and it had an incredible feedback. We were getting personal messages from people that were thankful that couldn't get down. We were getting messages from all sorts, really, weren't we?
Yeah.
Businesses, and it was just incredible, which spurred us on to do more. Just so people were saying that it just made them happy that they could feel a bit about, of the Sanibel.
Little Sanibel sunshine we sent.
Yes.
I personally was up at college, and me and my friends would sit in the living room and watch the videos for hours on end together.
Which is something from a 20-something-year-old. That's awesome. So we're pleased with that. So anyway, it was closed down for 55 days. And how many videos did we do in 55 days? So
from that one video we ended up making 45 videos. 45
videos, which to some people, like the Casey Neistats of the world, might not seem like a lot. For somebody that is not particularly quick at editing, had never done narration. Laurie had never done any writing before. So we it was learning from scratch. I mean, I'd done video editing, but it was never in a fast format. So literally we would go out and shoot maybe at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I would take the electric bike on the beach.
Yeah, because at that point, they had shut all the public parking lots on the island, so there was no way to actually park at the beaches, and all the resorts were shut down too. So we'd throw the electric bike on the car, and I would drop Nick off at close to one of the public beaches, and then he would strap the drone to his back and literally take the bike, and I would just drive around because I couldn't park anywhere because there was nowhere to park. So just waiting for him to call me and tell me to pick him back up again.
Yeah, so it worked, and so we'd go out shooting, and Laurie was pretty particular, so we'd be finished 3 or 4 times. Like, we'd be finished about 10 a.m. and then 11 a.m. and then 12 a.m. She'd we'll just add this bit and we'll just do this bit. So the videos kept getting longer and longer, and then we'd come back, and then by the time we finished shooting, we'd start editing, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and typically we'd finish about midnight.
Yeah.
And it was every day. And then sometimes we would just fried and couldn't get that video ended, so we'd be later the next day. We'd start shooting at maybe 1 in the afternoon because we're finishing the video the day before.
Yeah, and then the best part is when your phone broke and there was no way to get a new phone because everything was shut, and then we had these walkie-talkies that we dug out of the closet that you had. So we literally had. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we had. If you don't know, I fly paramotors, and in paramotors we use short band radios to stay in contact. And so we grabbed a couple of short band radios, and we were using those to communicate so that we could get off the beach, so I could get Laurie to pick up. But the thing is,
It didn't work.
the reception didn't work very well, so there was a lot of miscommunication.
So I would literally just be driving up and down like East Gulf Drive, waiting for him to come back off the beach. And yeah, it was fun times.
Chaos.
Yeah.
And then basically, so we kept posting those. It was getting an amazing response. I mean, literally thousands and thousands of views. And then the island opened back up again. And we thought, oh, this is too good to stop doing. So why don't we keep going with it? So we did. Obviously, once we started getting busier, it was harder to do.
Busier with the photography business.
It was harder to do as many. But we did try and keep it going. And then we thought, well, we need a home for these places, because once you put them on Facebook, they kind of disappear. They go in a feed. So we started up the YouTube channel, which is the Sanibel Captiva Guide YouTube channel. And that became the home for the videos. And then we thought, well, what about if we wanted to share some extra information that we didn't share in those videos? So then the next thought was to add the blog post, or the blog, or the website, which is TheSanCapGuide.com. So basically, every video that we've done, we've also done an accompanying blog post where you'll find much, much, much more information about that subject. And and it's been good. So we've purposely not tried to advertise our own business on it. We've tried to keep it as genuine as we possibly can. And it has been a bit of a passion project, but it has taken many, many, many hours. And now with our business back in full swing now, it's a ton of work to do both, but we're still doing it, and we still managed to put out a video last week.
Yeah, which we were actually reflecting last night when we were watching TV, that we went for almost 3 months without even turning on the TV, because when we were making the 45 videos in the 55 days, because we just didn't have time to do anything.
We never had time, and
But make the videos.
Make the videos, that was it. And we just,
in a time when most people, the only thing they could do was watch TV.
Right. So we literally spent 3 months making these videos, and
yeah, it was weekends, and just the fact that everything was closed down was a challenge in itself, obviously, with the bikes and driving around and trying to film, and then some of the beaches weren't open, so you couldn't fly on them, so we had to, just be respectful to that. But yeah, anyway, it's been a great change of pace, and it's something that now we want to carry on doing it, and we want to make sure that we can keep sharing different parts and do it in better, bigger and better ways. Hence the reason we've got the podcast. We did do one a while back, but obviously it was a lot of work, and hopefully we've got the studio set up now to where we can put something out regularly. And I don't want to jinx myself, but hopefully the plan is that we get something out every week, at least something. And so yeah, welcome to the podcast, and
give you more details on the videos that we've already shot.
Yeah, go back
into depth. We've had some questions from people that are visiting that we can answer on here, posting clips and stuff like that. So,
and it means if you have any questions, any burning questions, send them in.
Yeah, please do get involved with the TheSanCap Guide and the podcast and the video, everything, because we would love to hear your input. We want to hear what you've got to say. We want to hear ideas for different videos that we could do. So please feel free, and we encourage you to leave comments below, and also make sure you subscribe, obviously, because these might come out at random times. So if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, then you'll be notified every time.
That's on YouTube, and then also you can subscribe on TheSanCapGuide.com. As soon as you go to the website, at the very top of the website, there's a button. Go click
sign up for email
notifications.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, because you'll get notified for every aspect of the guide, which will be from the videos to the podcast to social media, or not social media. I mean, we're not going to blast you, but once a week we'll give you an update of things that are coming out, or if something special is coming out, we'll let you know. So anyway, that was a little bit about how it started, and the reasons why we want to keep it going.
So I think we're going to go into talking about the last video you made.
Yeah, we did
'Cause
the first podcast we did was
a little teaser about the video.
Yeah, and we were
More of
trying
a test. Yeah.
more of a test, and we found ourselves talking about a video that we hadn't released, and it had a bit of a twist in it, and hopefully you've seen it. If not, go and check it out. So we ended up not wanting to spoil it for anybody, so we didn't really talk about it. But
I guess now we can talk about it.
Now we can talk about it.
It's a cool story.
Why don't you tell us how we ended up going there, Laurie?
So the video we're referring to is about the Sanibel Lighthouse, and that she actually has a twin sister that many people do not know about. We didn't even know about it. We've lived
I've
here
never heard of
for
it.
21 years. Max has been here his entire life. You've been on the beaches almost every single night at the lighthouse. I can't even know how many times you've been at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And we had no idea that she actually has a twin sister in Port St. Joe, Florida, which is up in the Panhandle. And I've only found out about it because when we were making the 45 videos over the 55 days, I would actually be researching everything I could about the islands and trying to come up with ideas about videos the future videos we were going to make. And I discovered about the story that when they brought the lighthouse in 1884, it was about 2 miles from the shore.
Where did they bring it from?
It was built in the Phoenix Iron Company in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, and then they brought it by boat. It was a boat called, what was the boat called, Max?
It was called the Martha M. Heath.
That's right. So
It's a sailing schooner.
Schooner,
the
yeah.
schooner, correct. Yeah, it was about 2 miles from shore and actually hit a shoal and broke apart, and all the pieces of the lighthouse fell into the water.
Well, not just one lighthouse, but two lighthouses.
Both lighthouses.
Right, both lighthouses. So there was actually a second lighthouse identical to the Sanibel Lighthouse. It was bound for Port St. Joe. So luckily, they were able to retrieve all the parts except for two small pieces, and they remanufactured those, and they went on to build the Sanibel Lighthouse, which opened in 1884, and then it went on to sail up to Port St. Joe in the Panhandle, and they built that one. And I think that one opened in 1885.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that we don't put in the videos just because we don't want to overwhelm people, or we don't want to make them too long. So we sort of cherry pick and choose the info that we put in, but we couldn't go into. There was actually other lighthouses there before at Port St. Joe.
Correct,
Before
yeah.
the Sanibel.
Well, so it started on Cape San Blas, which is an island off of Port St. Joe.
Well, not really an island. I think it's more like
more of a peninsula.
Peninsula, correct.
Yeah. And I think there was 4 lighthouses. That was the 4th lighthouse in 40 years that they had built because, like, oncoming waters, starting in 1845, they had built their first, and then 40 years later, they were on their 4th lighthouse, which was the one that was already dropped in the water. So they didn't have very much luck with their lighthouses.
They did not. So Sanibel was the very first lighthouse that was built there, but at Port St. Joe, there was
Cape San Blas.
Or Cape St. Blas, right? That was already. There were 3 previous ones built out of brick, and then this 4th one, which was the metal tower that we have on Sanibel.
And by historical accounts, I think the brick one only lasted a couple of years, didn't it? It was wiped out by a hurricane
Right.
within a couple of years of its first being built.
Yeah, it was built in 1849 and wiped out in 1851.
Right. So
6 years later, they built another one, and then that was gone by 1869. So that one only lasted 12 years, and then the sea started encroaching, and the 3rd one was gone, and then the one from up north came down in 1885.
Right. And then that one was actually moved from the place it was originally put.
it was last moved in 2014 because it was
Again.
Yeah, it had been moved on Cape San Blas a couple times, and then they had to move it off completely because
off
the
Cape St. Blas
encroaching
to Port
waters.
St. Joe.
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah, it's gone through lots of troubles and
Lots of
tribulations.
troubles, yeah. Oh, well, the good thing about that, and you'll see it in the video if you haven't seen it, is that you can actually tour the inside of it. So it'll give you a great look at how the Sanibel Lighthouse is. You can pay to go up, and it's got similar lighthouse keeper
Cottages.
They're different, but they're similar. There's 2 of them, and then it's got the old oil house and
Yeah.
a lot of similarities, but you can actually climb up through the inside, and it's incredibly steep and really
Right.
small steps.
So you go in the Lighthouse Keeper Cottage to pay your admission, and when we went, it was $5, I think, to go. And there's some memorabilia, and the second floor of the Lighthouse Keeper Cottage has a little small museum. It was shut when we were there because they had some water damage, but hopefully that will reopen soon. And then there's a lady sitting there, just a little table, a folding table. We gave her our money, and then you're just free to tour. There's no tour guide or anything. They're like, have at it. So they just let you go.
It is crazy to think as a local, you see the Sanibel Lighthouse all the time, and you have no idea what's inside or
Right.
what it's like, but you can see exactly what it's like if you go up there and go up through the middle and climb up to the top.
And I must say, it's strenuous.
It is strenuous.
Even
We had a lot
Max, who's 21, you're 22, we were breathing heavy.
We
Yeah.
tried to take some video, but we had to duck out the sound because it sounded like we were about
Had to run a marathon.
102
Right.
years old.
Yeah.
So.
It's like 30 steps. And then the steps at the very end, as you get to the very top, are so super tiny and super steep.
Not so hard going up, but then when you turn around and come down, you realise only your heel fits on the steps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty steep. but-
Right. And then you literally just crank open this really creaky heavy metal door, and then you can walk out and walk all the way.
Beautiful view. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
doesn't really,
crazy view.
the one thing about it is we did some drone footage, or I took some drone footage of Max and Laurie actually out on the balcony, and I circled around them, and you don't realise how big the lighthouse is. It really puts it in the scale when you see a person actually standing on that gallery, because we're not used to seeing people on the gallery. But
Yeah.
it's incredibly high. The viewer from up there is fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
It's super cool. I
Yeah.
loved it. And the reason we went up there, we were actually visiting Max. He went to Florida State. He just graduated.
Go Knowles.
Go Knowles. And so it's about a 2-hour drive south of Tallahassee. So I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. That was, so if you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. It's called,
The fascinating tale of the Sanibel Lighthouse. I
Sanibel
believe
Lighthouse.
it
Yeah.
And
Check it.
I'll also link the history of the Cape San Blas Lighthouse in the description so you can read more about it, because there is a pretty detailed website that has all the history of everything that's happened.
And if you're interested in the lighthouse history, the Sanibel Lighthouse, Charles LeBoeuf has written a book called The Sanibel Lighthouse, and it's amazing. It's filled with tons and tons and tons of facts.
And just for those that don't know, say who's Charles LeBoeuf?
Charles LeBoeuf was the second in command of the Jan Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge, and he actually lived in one of the keepers' cottages. The keepers' cottages used to house the employees of the Jan Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge, so I think he lived there for like 30 years, so he knows it intimately.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so
So
definitely-
check out. And he has does he have a group or something about?
Yes, he has a Facebook group called the Sanibel Lighthouse, so check that out, where he posts pictures. He has pictures that he's collected through the years, and I think the sitting room of his house is filled with lighthouse photographs, and yeah, he's a really interesting, amazing person.
Yeah, so check it out if you haven't had a chance. And please do share the videos if you think of anybody that might enjoy them. We want to get the word out there.
Yeah.
So
I know all the local bookstores on the island sell the Sanibel Lighthouse book, so definitely check out Jeans or Macintosh Books. I think they both have the book.
Is there anywhere you can find it online?
Definitely on Amazon, but I would
Amazon.
definitely recommend going to the local bookstores. And
I think
They're cool.
Bailey's has a selection of local
yeah,
books
maybe
as
even
well.
Bailey's have some books.
And then the Sanibel Library, if you're not familiar with it, is an incredible library. It's huge and very comprehensive for the size of the island, and
Right.
they have a ton of local resources there. So check that out. So,
Right. And if you don't know, if you're a visitor, you can actually get a library card. You don't have to be a local. It's only $10, and it's good for the whole year.
There you go.
What did they add? They just added, we had this on the list, we might as well talk it now that we brought up the library. If you do want to do like bird watching or anything, if you have a library card, you can rent out bird watching kits and stuff like that for free.
Yeah, they have these really cool kits. They're all in a bag. You literally check them out. They're free to check out once you have your library card. So they have a bird watching kit that includes binoculars and
Probably species books.
species books, right? and it's all packed in a bag. So you literally take it to the desk, check it out, and you're free to use it. They have cooking kits. They have a bunch of really neat things. So
Yeah, a lot of other extra things other than books. They've got a lot of interactive things going on in there as well, don't they? Yeah. So awesome. So let's go on to we did a blog post. We did a blog post recently about No-See-Ums. We were going to make a video about it, but we couldn't keep up with the No-See-Ums, so we just did a blog post. And it wouldn't have been very interesting either, but they can be, being honest, they can be a bit of a problem. No-See-Ums are known as sand fleas elsewhere in the country. They're basically the same thing. And we always getting asked.
This was from a question on the Facebook, so a comment. I mean, everyone that's visited Sanibel knows about No-See-Ums, and we wanted some local opinions.
So one time I've been here when I first moved here from England in 1999. I think they like my English blood, and I literally have scars on my ankles and not so much my elbows, but I used to get bitten to pieces by them. And they're not there all the time, but normally when the wind is lighter, you can find them.
And dawn and dusk.
Dawn and dusk, which is when I'm always out photographing. And they literally used to leave welts on me. I've got to say that after 21 years or however long I've been here, they don't bother me nearly as much now. I know that they're biting me and I don't really scratch after. But I know other people are not the same way. So when I was in between appointments, and there used to be a restaurant here owned by a guy called Andy that was called the Hungry Heron. It was on Palm Ridge Road for a very long time.
It's now Rosie's.
Rosie's Cafe, yeah. And what I do is
great. Go check it out.
Yeah, it was very good. What I'd do is because I was in between appointments, I wouldn't have time to sit and get a table, so I'd just sit at the bar, order some bar food, and then chat away, and then go and do my next shoot. And the bartender there, his name was it Damien?
Could have been
20 years ago anyway. But basically, he said his grandfather had lived on the island for years and was born on the island. And I was talking to him one night because I'd just been bitten to pieces by the No-See-Ums, and I said, "What? Any ideas?" And he said, "My grandfather swears by baby oil." Now, look, I just got to say, anything that we're going to recommend, we're not. This is not medical advice, and obviously we can't tell if you're going to be allergic to it or if it's any good for you. Take it with a pinch of salt, but please do try it if you want to. But he said baby oil. Obviously, you couldn't go out in the middle of the day and use baby oil because you're going to get burnt to pieces. But the idea is No-See-Ums are so small that if you put baby oil on your skin, they basically land on you, and then they basically just die because they drown in the oil. So that was the first time I'd heard. I actually texted a friend of mine, Dave, who's a Dave Godfrey, who's a fishing guide in the area, a good friend of mine. And he said the same thing. So there's two people who said baby oil. And I can attest it definitely works. The only problem is with being a photographer with camera gear, it's not really practical because obviously, it gets all over my camera gear. But if you just did your legs or something like that.
Or just if you wear long pants and do your ankles or.
Yeah.
And luckily the biggest problem is at dawn and dusk. So you don't have to worry about getting sunburn if you are using baby oil. Don't do it during the day.
Right. And then with that, we asked the same question. We did a video a couple of weeks ago about the beauty shop and.
Oh, okay. Yes, the Sanibel Beauty Salon, which has been in existence for 75 years. We interviewed the second generation owner, Marianne Banta, and you asked her about it.
Her husband, who's a fishing guide.
Right.
Joe, he was saying that his first reaction, I asked him about No-See-Ums, his first reaction, olive oil, which I hadn't heard of, but sounds a little bit more palatable, definitely more palatable, but a little bit better than baby oil. But I think the common thread is oil, because they will actually drown in the oil.
Right, and then Max, you have a buddy who's a fishing guide now.
A friend of mine that I grew up with, Tatum Stewart. I actually asked him because he takes people from out of town out on the boat all the time, and he recommended Ben's insect repellent wipes, which he linked to me on Amazon, which we'll put in the blog post. Those are probably a better remedy during the day because they're not going to affect you getting sunburnt.
Right, and it's portable.
He's tried everything. He's been fishing since before he could walk, so he's tried everything, and he said these things are the SHIT is what he said.
Perfect.
And what's the name of his company? Is it Catch Me
It's
If You Can?
Catch Me If You can. Yeah, Catch Me If You Can fishing
Charles.
guide. So look him
He
up.
does a great job. So we'll link him in the description.
I'll link him in the
below.
blog, so we can do that.
Yep. And his father and son team, they both fishing guides, and they're
For as long as I can remember.
yeah, so great guys, and check out their charters.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's Joe's charter? Banta.
Joe,
He's out of Castaways.
He's Castaways. Oh, I will link that in the description as well.
Can you look it up quickly, Max?
Yeah.
Joe Banta. He's out of Castaways.
Castaways Marina, which is on Captiva.
Right.
Actually, it's not. It's on Sanibel Bay. It's Santiva, which is right next to Captiva.
Right.
Yeah, so we'd love to
Barefoot Charters?
Yeah.
Barefoot Charters.
Barefoot Charters.
That's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Check him out, too.
Yeah. And if you want to, we'd love to hear your personal remedies. If there's any locals or visitors that have been coming here for a long time, let us know. Put them in the comments below, because we'd love to share them with everyone else. And if you try something that we've suggested on here, try that. Oh, there's actually another product which I've heard great things about from some people, and some people say it doesn't work for them, but I think it would be worth a try. I think it's No-See-Ums juice. What's the name of it? The actual product is...
yeah, the one that is actually created by a local.
It's created by a local specifically for No-See-Ums, and you might have some luck with it, and we'll link that in the description below. That's actually... a lot of people swear by it. I don't think it works for everybody, but it's weird because Laurie...
And Avon Skin So Soft, everybody... A lot of people rave about that.
Say Avon Skin So Soft.
So I feel like it's different for every single person.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Do you get
bit?
I do not. Well, I must get bit because I'm out at the same time as Dad, but
you don't feel it.
I don't react, I think, is what the difference is.
And then I can say, hand on heart, when I came here, it was absolutely awful. It was terrible. And now they don't bother me at all. Max, do you get bitten?
I get bitten. When we go to shoots together, I'm sitting behind you, and I know how you don't react, and I don't want to be the one reacting in front of the customers, so I'm just like trying my hardest not to do anything, and every once in a while I'll lose it, and I'll have to just swipe them off my leg. It gets me really bad. Yeah,
they're pesky little things. They do tend to go for your ankles and your elbows, so if you know that, then, keep your ankles and elbows covered
Right.
up.
Another thing they say, wear tight clothing. Obviously, ladies can wear leggings. They recommend that, too.
If you're not so fashion forward, you can get 100% bulletproof results with like big fly net pants and things like that, but it does look kind of ridiculous on the beach. But then if it works and you want to do it, then
I know people do that when they go into Ding Darling because they don't spray in Ding Darling, so people actually have these whole head to toe fly or mosquito net suits that they wear.
But just from personal experience, let me just typically they're going to be they're going to be a lot worse up in the mangroves. They actually, that's where they are, around the foliage in the mangroves. So if you go down by the water, sometimes if I've got customers that are particularly getting bothered by them, then I'll just get them to go down by the water and just get them ankle deep, and that's enough for a little bit of, because then you've only got to worry about swatting away on your elbows. But it really isn't that big of a deal all the time. It's just something that's occasional, but when it happens, if you are particularly affected by them, then it can be rather annoying.
Right. And then the Island Pharmacy, which is on Palm Ridge Road, has some kind of concoction too, apparently. I've never tried it because I haven't had to.
Have to check that out.
They apparently everybody swears by too. They make some secret concoction. I don't think it's secret, but a concoction that you can purchase.
Perfect. And then, obviously the wind actually, anytime there's a windy night, you're not going to have them at all. They're so tiny that they just get blown away. But if you are sitting behind a screened enclosure, you're not actually protected from them unless it's a specifically designed screen for those.
Yeah,
because
they actually make screens that are super tightly woven to actually stop them as No-See-Ums.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's make sure you check out the blog post. It's going to be on TheSanCapGuide.com. And please let us give us some feedback. Let us know of different things that you've tried and what works and what doesn't.
With everybody.
And we will pass it on and share.
And then we wanted to mention about what's coming up this weekend. So what do we have, Max?
So we have the Picnic Island Paddle, which leaves from the first island over the first span nearest the
there's
toll
the
booth.
mainland. Okay.
Yep. It leaves at 9 a.m., so I think they meet at 8:45.
And what
It's
is
supposed
it?
to last 3 hours. It's on Thursday, May 6th, which was actually yesterday.
Oh, God.
Never mind. We wrote this yesterday.
It was
Okay.
excellent. We went
Yeah.
there and it was fantastic.
3 hours,
I
which I
think-
would never hope to do.
That's something they do
Yeah.
on not a I think on a regular basis. So it sounds
I think it's
really
the Sanibel
cool.
Sea School that puts
right.
it on.
It's the Sanibel Sea School, and they have something called Ocean Tribe Paddling Club. So go to the Sanibel Sea School website and check it out. And I think that sounds amazing. You paddle over to Picnic Island, which is about a mile, I think, from the causeway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's pick a calm day, obviously, because it's
Yeah,
quite a
I
paddle.
wouldn't even dream of paddling all the way there. I'd take the boat. But it's just 3
Well,
hours of
that's-
paddling.
Yeah, if you don't have a boat, Max.
Right. I think it sounds cool.
The farmer's market is on Sunday, May 9th. We actually had a question if they're credit card or cash only. I believe it's a booth by booth basis.
Right. I think so too.
Depends on the vendor, but I would bring cash just in case.
And once again, the farmers market is on Dunlop Road between the library and the police station, and I think it ends in May. That'll be the last one, and then it's closed for the summer. So definitely, if you're here or you're visiting, go check it out. It is amazing.
Yeah, and it's a lot bigger than you'd imagine for the size of the island.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons and tons of stalls there. There's actually one on Captiva. We'll have to look out when that one finishes too. There's one in the
Right.
South Seas parking lot up there. They have
Yeah.
they have one on Tuesdays, I believe. So
And then we had some questions that I'll ask you guys.
Okay.
So the first question I saw was just somebody asking, they had a few hours to go out to the island. So let's say they had a day. If you had to do one thing with your day on Sanibel, what would it be?
That's difficult.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, there's so much to do, obviously.
There's so much to do. I mean,
if you could cover the most ground.
I would say getting a bike.
Yeah.
And there's Billy's bikes and Finnemore's bikes. And that's the best way, I personally think, to see the island. It's
yeah, you definitely go into stuff that you wouldn't normally notice. And I think the first time I ever came here with you, we ended up cycling to Captiva, and we just on the little rental bikes, and we went to Blind Pass, and that was great. And then came back and had lunch on the way
you
back.
don't
It's
have to
quite
worry-
a trek, but
Right. You don't have to worry about parking
right.
because the parking lots are small-ish. And
And you can stop at different beaches. You haven't got any issues with parking. You're never going to have to worry about that. It's good exercise. It's a great way to get a tan.
You can
I mean,
do
it's-
all of Periwinkle Way in probably an hour from Billy's,
I
to
think
get to the end.
If check out, and I hate to keep saying this, but we have done a whole thing on the blog about the cycling, and we've recommended different rides on there.
Bike
and there's
paths and stuff
bike
like
paths
that.
and things like that. I think there's 26 miles of bike paths on the island.
yeah,
isn't there?
26 miles bike. And we did an interesting video about how the bike paths actually started.
Yeah,
So I love that one.
check those out. That's a whole nother
one was very
subject.
interesting.
But,
Right. We won't go into that
yeah,
today.
but
'Cause
that was so probably get bikes. Obviously, hit one of the major beaches.
right. And once you
Bowman's,
biked, because you burned off all those calories, you hit up one of the ice cream places like Sanibel's Best or Joey's.
You'll pass plenty all over Periwinkle.
Right. Yeah. So treat yourself. Love Boat ice cream, amazing, which Max actually used to work.
Used to my first job.
Max's first job, the Love Boat in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. Is alcohol allowed on the beaches? That was a question. That's a yes, correct?
that is a yes, correct.
Yeah. Somebody had a question about that. And then I'd say we'll go for the last one, which would be a good question for you guys. Is the best hidden beaches to avoid crowds? Because some of the beaches get more.
Do we want to talk about that? We don't.
I don't think we can tell anyone that.
No.
That's what we should
Yeah.
keep to ourselves.
Should we keep it to
need
ourselves?
To keep that to ourselves. Yeah.
No, if you go to I tell you the best way to get a bit of solitude, bit of peace and quiet is to go to Bowman's Beach, and then partly because there's a ton of parking there. Secondly, it's a bit of a walk to get to the beach. It's probably about a quarter mile from the parking lot. We did a video about it. It's a quarter mile from the parking lot probably to the beach. But then if you take a walk to your left or to your right, go for a quarter mile or so and you will have a beach to yourself. So I would say that would probably be the best bet if you want a real quiet beach to yourself. And
Right. Be prepared to hike, though.
be prepared to hike or take a wagon or something, which is what I do.
Right. Yeah. Pack your snacks. Definitely bring the water because there's There's vending machines, but there's no any kind of
They're not,
concessions
they're not
or
really
anything.
close to the beach, though, the vending machines.
Right,
They're
and
still
it's
at the
just a vending
parking lot.
machine. You're not going to find a concession stand or anything to get any food or water.
So
Come prepared.
Come prepared.
Come
That's
prepared, yeah,
exactly.
for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Any others, Max, or was that it?
I think that's all. I think that's all we
Okay.
got.
Well, that's awesome. I think we covered everything. I can't stress enough. I'd love to make sure you get involved in this podcast. Let us know how we can improve it. If you've got any subjects you want to do, we are going to check out our sponsors in the links below. This takes an awful lot of time and effort to get this done, so we are taking on supporters and sponsors that help out with the SanCap Guide. I want to mention Breakaway Vacations, Spoondrift Island Bowl, one of the best restaurants on the island, and GatorBites Taylor Nail do the only place locally. They're not on the island, but they're very close.
Just over the bridge.
Just over the bridge that do
Gator.
Gator. So if you fancy a bit of Gator.
Would be a cool thing for tourists to try out.
With that being said, I'm Nick Adams. See you on the next one.
I'm Lori Adams. See you on
Max
the next
Adams.
one.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a
Thanks,
good one,
guys.